Revert Pro Tips 11.2, holding your standards. So when looking to get married as a revert in Islam, and again my advice is more towards women, one of the biggest traps is to feel like, or to have internalized, a less than mentality, to have internalized the message that you are somehow not as good and not as worthy as sisters who were raised in Islam, and to therefore compromise in your rights and your expectations. Do not think that because you're a revert you don't deserve a good mahar. Do not think that you don't need a wali to help and protect your interests, someone who knows the community and the culture. Do not think that you have to drop your standards just because you weren't raised in a Muslim household with a Muslim family. Hold to your standards, hold to your boundaries, and you will be glad in the end. Revert Pro Tips 11.3, trusting Allah when finding a spouse. I hear very often sisters and brothers who express concerns about, if I don't do this blank, this haram or makruh thing, that I might lose this person, that this person might not marry me. Or if I just do this one thing, then that might convince them to marry me. Or we just need to get to know each other a little bit more than, Islam accepts, so that we can get married. You have to remind yourself that Allah will not punish you for obeying Him, and Allah will not reward you for disobeying Him. So if doing the things you're supposed to do drives this person away, then thank Allah for that. And if they want you to sin to keep them, then tell shaitan, no thank you, and move on, and Allah will replace them with better. Revert Pro Tips 11.4, red flags to watch out for when looking for a marriage partner. So none of these are universal. There will always be exceptions, but some big red flags that I've seen in my years working with and counseling women who have been married, who have been divorced, who are looking to get married, and living with my husband, who is an imam and marries people weekly. A person who is far from you and won't put you in contact with any friends or family members. A person who talks badly about former spouses, or just talks badly, backbites people in general. A person who is asking you to make compromises before you're even married, or to go out of your comfort zone. And a person who has no connection to the Muslim community. These are all big red flags and things that you should really, really question and not make excuses for. Revert Pro Tips 11.5, honesty in seeking a spouse. You must look internally and reflect on what your standards and your priorities are in life and in marriage. And you must be able to articulate that in a truthful way to potential partners. If your priority is to be a homemaker, you want a humble life, you want to, not be materially focused, you need to express that. If you are someone who enjoys this dunya and wants to travel and experience things, you need to express that. There are many, many ways to be a good Muslim, and they're not wrong, but they can be conflicting. They can be counter to one another. So if you have not had that internal conversation yet, if you can't yet express what your goals and your priorities really, really are, you need to work on that so that you can start that honest dialogue before you discuss going further. Revert Pro Tips 11.6, not expecting to change someone. So when you're seeking marriage, you're considering someone for marriage, one of the first pieces of advice I give to sisters, typically I'm dealing with sisters, is, would you be happy? Would you be content? Would you be accepting of being married to this person 10 years from now, exactly as they are today, and potentially worse off? Because the reality is, we as human beings cannot change people. We cannot alter their character. Allah is the turner of hearts, not you or me. So if a brother marries a sister and she's not wearing hijab and she's wearing tight clothes and she's mixing with men, don't expect her to be in niqab next year. It's not realistic. If you marry a brother and he's hanging out with girls and he's been promiscuous, don't be surprised when that behavior continues. May Allah guide us to the best.